Today we will discuss the Module 7 Warehouse Layout Design. And the learning objective of this warehouse layout design are the following. Explain the importance of loading and unloading area. So gaano ba kaimportante ang loading and unloading areas sa isang warehouse, no? Second, recognize the value of product mix. Third, summarize the guidelines for how operations can appropriately choose a size for the next warehouse or distribution center. So these three objectives: the importance of loading and unloading area. Second is also the value of the product mix. And third is the guidelines on how the operation can approximately choose a size for the next warehouse or distribution center. Devising a warehouse layout is the first step in designing an installation. While this may seem like a simple issue, in practice, it is difficult to figure out. So, the outlines of the main factors that need consideration in the design process, as well as the warehouse layout that distributed into the automated storage and retrieval system. Okay. Generally speaking, warehouse designers have to work with space in which certain factors limit the surface area available. This is why the layout has to be carefully planned. When deciding on the internal and external layout of a warehouse, there are three possible scenarios that could necessitate a different assignment of space. First, the installation of new warehouses. Second, the extension of existing facilities. And third, the reorganization of those currently operating. That even though the last of this option does not involve making extremely important decision that will affect the development of the business over a medium to long term. Nonetheless, despite the specific circumstances, the general layout of facility must be cover all these needs. So the reason are making the most of the available space. Second, reducing the handling of goods to a minimum. Third, providing easy access to the storage product. D, having the highest rotation ratio possible. E, offering maximum flexibility in the positioning of products. F, controlling the amounts stored to achieve these objectives. Okay. So, the first step is to create a warehouse layout where the design of the warehouse is represented in a form of a plan. The created layout must respect the basic rules of good storage mentioned and avoid areas and points of congestion, facilitate maintenance tasks, and establish the greatest possible workflows with the associated reduction in runtimes. The following areas must be perfectly defined when designing a layout. A. Loading and unloading areas. B. Reception area. C. Storage area. D. Picking area. E. Dispatch area. What is the loading and unloading areas? Loading and unloading areas, which are normally located inside the warehouse or incorporated into it, are those that the trucks and vehicles transporting and distributing goods have direct access to. In a well-organized warehouse, it is useful to separate these activities from the rest of the installation, allowing sufficient space for loading and unloading. This area can be integrated into the warehouse or be independent. The loading and unloading areas integrated into the warehouse. So there are uh, two situations wherein the trucks are connected to the warehouse via the ducts, and these ducts can be duct separated by an intermediate platform, and second is the flush ducts. So the ducts that are separated by an intermediate platform, these are appropriate when this separation is advisable as determined by the nature of the goods or the need to maintain the internal warehouse environment, or when there is safety issues relating to the material stored. Example of this is applying this type of separated duct is for cold chambers where the cold loss could occur in a flush duct is used with an access door, and where this must be avoided at all costs. Yet there are many other circumstances in which this design is preferable, particularly when the safety of the warehouse could be compromised. So that is the duct separated by an intermediate platform. The other one, the flush ducts, they are allow trucks to back right up to the warehouse wall to avoid affecting the internal environment of the facility. Access doors must have, as a minimum, hermetically sealed system. The seal can be metal or created through the use of duct shelter. The access point with metal seals have a manual or automated system that operates a flat barrier that can be fixed, folding or rolling, and it opens when the truck backs up to the building and closes when the vehicle has finished the operation. The internal environment can be more effectively preserved if the closing system is automated. In addition to a metal seal, doors with inflatable shelters have a channel that encircles the truck when it is connected to the entrance, so that the internal environment is less compromised by conditions outside. When this type of loading area is created, it is advisable for the warehouse floor to be above the level of where the trucks drive. Loading and unloading areas can also be designed in which trucks are driven into a pit. However, movement and operations are faster if the warehouse is at a high level instead. The necessary height difference can be achieved in several ways. Therefore, it is not vital for the warehouse floor to be above ground level. Instead, the area where trucks drive can be at a lower level, creating a gradual descent that avoids the steel ramps, which ultimately make maneuvers more difficult and slow down movement. Two different scenarios need to be considered when determining how to achieve this height difference. The first is when trucks accessing the loading and unloading areas are owned by the company. The second is when the trucks used are owned by third parties. If only the company's own trucks are going to use the loading and unloading areas, and the height of the trailer is exactly the same in each case, the difference in level can be established precisely, and no further consideration are required. However, if the trucks are going to access these areas are owned by third parties and come from different sources, they will have different trailer heights. So, a system must be created that allows the difference in height to be adjusted. In general, an adjustable leveler system is essential because even when the company uses its own fleet, which in theory means there is no variation in the height difference between the vehicles and the dock, in practice, this difference is always present. One of the reasons for this is the suspension in the truck's give way over time, either because different loads cause the height of the track to vary, or, more commonly, because eventually the company is obliged to purchase or lease other types of transport. Ultimately, the difference in trailer heights is practically inevitable. Mechanical or hydraulic devices can be used to deal with these height differences. Mechanical devices are based on the use of bridges or walkways fitted manually between the dock and the truck. These elements are used so that forklifts, stacker cranes, and any other mechanical devices used to load and unload trucks can enter and exit the vehicle. Another option is to use the second system mentioned, which consists of metal platform with one or more hydraulic cylinders. This platform facilitates access by acting as a ramp when integrated into the dock itself, or by raising and lowering the truck. Okay, thank you.